What it is, great people. The home of motivation to trust God and live your dreams. All right, what it is, good people. You know who it is. I am Mista Darkeye. You tuned in to the Mista Darkeye Podcast right here on Anchor FM, New Soul Music, the home of motivation to trust God and live your dreams. And today, as you can see, we're back to the business again. Don Johnson is here, and we are getting y'all updated on everything she got going on. And I'll say this. I've been watching and I've been looking at the mother-daughter stuff. I know we ain't starting with this yet, but at the end of the day, I just found it to be so interesting, the conversations that y'all been having. Mm-hmm. But we'll get to that though.
Yeah. Because it's all connected.
It's all connected. Other than that though, you've been doing pretty good?
Yeah, I've been doing good.
That's good. That's good.
Staying engaged in impactful stuff that just keeps my spirit high. Because there's a lot out there to bring us down. So you got to be intentional about staying positive and doing positive things.
It's always something and to be the unexpected stuff, the stuff that you didn't see coming. But it's always similarities in the way the attacks come, basically like from the previous stuff.
Right.
So it's like the enemy ain't creative.
No, not at all. He knows our weaknesses. He knows what can trigger us. All of that.
Yeah.
Just had a little cat walk across our path at the wrong time.
I know. The black cat.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that.
I don't believe that. I'm just saying that's how he works.
I know.
He just knows what to dangle.
Yeah.
To get us off track, to get us distracted.
Yeah, I think it's another conspiracy against us, but the black cat got to be bad luck.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
But you're right. I think that we gotta be on our pivot though. But at the same time, the unexpected stuff is stuff that we're surprised by, but God is not. No. So
not at all. The enemy means it for our bad. God means it for our good. So we'll grow from it. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. You never lose. You either learn or you win. Right?
It just can be difficult. I guess sometimes when it get real personal with people you close to, stuff like that can happen. But at the end of the day, who we need, what we need will always be there. Right. And what we don't is not.
Absolutely.
So we got 8 steps to financial empowerment.
Yes. So that's my baby.
That's your baby.
It's the reason actually that I left corporate America, started my own agency. It's the platform for me. Like when I asked God to help me with this agency, I wanted it to be a platform for me to financially empower people in our culture, because there were things that I learned in corporate America that I was just kind of like, why isn't anybody teaching us this stuff?
Right.
Why isn't this being taught in schools? Like there's information here that we can start teaching in 4K in terms of principles and habits, and there's so much. So that's kind of the baby for me. And, so anything that I can do, any space that I can be in, from schools to churches to organizations to what have you, 8 steps are the principles that I'm focused on.
Right, because there's a lot of people that just not aware on how it goes, how money works, what they should be doing with their money and what they shouldn't be doing, how to budget, and things of that nature.
Right, and I try to simplify it because there's so much information out there. There's so many different people talking to you. You have Susie Orman, she was kind of on the scene early. Then you have Financial Peace University with Dave Ramsey, and then you have Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And these are all very different. Well, some of them are very different, even contradicting philosophies around managing money. And there's so much out there that I really focus on not telling people how to do things, specifically like telling you how to live your life, but giving you options and opportunities to have tools to give you things to think about how do you want to live your life. Like my whole philosophy is begin with the end in mind. I want you to envision what life looks like for you, 10, 15, 20 years, retirement. Like, why do you work? What are you working towards? And once you know what that is and that place that you want to be, then you work backwards to what steps are you taking today, every single day, to get you towards that dream, towards that, lifestyle that you want to have. So, so I feel like, it's a little bit different in terms of my approach, and then trying to make it very personal and individual and give people the opportunity to try different things and see what works for them. And, I always tell people when I ask them, what's the best diet out there?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
No, I don't actually.
If you had to guess, what would you say is the best diet? That people, there's always bad diets out there people trying.
Right.
It's a trick question.
I know, because I would say, I guess it just all depends on your personal goal and what you want, and then kind of going from there.
Right.
That would, yeah.
And my answer always is, this is the one you stick to.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Whatever you will stick to, whatever fits in your lifestyle, whatever makes sense to you, and you can apply those principles every single day. Right. That's what's best for you.
Okay.
So it's the same thing with financial empowerment. Mm-hmm. Nothing new under the sun in terms of learning how to spend less, save more, create more revenue, create more income, and then manage your money towards your goals based on those basic principles. But, how you do it, and you analyzing what am I doing to sabotage myself? How my habits every day contradicting what I say I want? Those are the kind of conversations we have. Then we apply tools and techniques and strategies to help you actually live what you want, live your dream.
So what's the biggest mistake that people be making when it comes down to their money?
I wouldn't call it a mistake. I would just say that it's a habit that we're not implementing, and that's budgeting. The B word. Nobody likes the B word, right? So you have to know I would say, when I tell people the very first time when we do these sessions, when I sit down with someone, I say, just brain dump. One of the tools that I use is a proposed budget. It has a proposed column and an actual column. So I tell people, just brain dump with me, because it's how you paying your bills every day. You're spending money every day. Just write in this tool. It has all the categories of how you're spending your money, how much money is coming in. And then I tell them, now take this home, because this is what you said you're doing. This is how much you have left over, your discretionary income, or if it's in the red. If it's in the red and you're spending more money than you're making, then you're doing something else. And we need to figure out, what are you doing? Is it credit cards? Is it borrowing money from other people? Like, how are you, making ends meet? So just having them do that activity. And I would have to say 100% of the time, people really don't have a good understanding of where their money goes. I've seen them use a lot of different systems, but until we use that particular tool, the light bulb doesn't go off. Like, I've had clients be like, I don't make that much, man. I'm like, your bank statement said this is how much money you brought in. And then they're like, I don't spend all of that. And so until we break it down in categories, so that revelation is the biggest piece. That's kind of the very first step. And then it's a matter of what you want to do about it. So we have, so there are 4 sessions that people can sign up for. And we break the 8 steps into the 4 sessions. So every session we cover 2 tips. The first session is about budgets, understanding discretionary income, expense management. Then we talk about ways to save money. I don't know if people realize, but, when pre-recession, we're heading to a recession, the interest rates on houses start to go up. Interest that you get paid, though, on CDs, money market accounts, even your savings accounts go up as well. So we got to pay attention to how we can benefit from the things that are going on. So yes, the price of everything is going up, but if you're saving your money, the interest you get on your money and not spending it goes up as well. So this is a great time to, make 4 to 6%, putting your money in, liquid accounts like a money market account. Because typically we feel like we got to put our money in, the market, which there's a strategy for investing in the market, but that money's not easily accessible. If you need it, you have an emergency to, pay your bills, or if you have a shortfall in your budget. But liquid accounts like money market accounts and CDs, now you can earn anywhere from 4 to 6%. Like, this is the time to be saving and earning as much interest as you can without, being nervous about being in the market. So we talk about that. We talk about your risk, how to make sure that when you are accumulating wealth, that you protect it. So, last thing you want is the rug pulled out from under you when you've worked so hard to accumulate things, your houses, your cars, your investments, your retirement planning. And then we talk about your dreams. Like, we get so stuck on working to pay bills. When you were in middle school
Mm-hmm.
and you were starting to think about like going into high school, what I want to be or do, you weren't saying I want to pay bills for the rest of my life.
Nah, you weren't thinking about that at all.
No.
Right.
So let's get back to what were you dreaming about when you first decided you were going to get a job and realize how to, how you're going to make a living.
Right.
So I try to refocus people back to that so that we can now connect the dots between what you need to do,
Mm-hmm.
the commitment you need to make so that you can actually realize your dreams. Then we get into preparing for a secure future. What does retirement look like for you? The basics on investing. That's kind of a mystery to some people. And what I find is some people are just embarrassed a little bit because, they feel like they should know more than they know. And I'm like, there's no embarrassment there. No one is teaching us this stuff.
Right.
It's not, you can graduate with a PhD
mm-hmm.
from a university and not know personal finance.
Yep.
No one's teaching it. So let's remove the stigma of embarrassment. Let's just start, each one teach one. Let's start just sharing information and helping each other get better. And then we go into long-term care because we're not prepared for what life looks like for us when we get older and we need people to care for us. And then what do you want your legacy to be? You want to make sure that the government is not taking all of your money and it actually goes to your family. You got to prepare for that. It doesn't happen automatically. If you don't plan to prepare, the government will get a majority of everything and it will disappear. I don't know how many properties that I've seen that in the past that we know. So the African American Cultural Resource Advisory Council, I'm taking a sidebar here, we are beginning to do a present what prominent families used to be in Rock Hill who had assets and lands and money back in the 1960s, 1950s. Well, what we're also finding is that a lot of that wealth that was accumulated back then is lost because we haven't put a good plan in place. Government, city, municipalities have a lot of land because people didn't have a plan for it. So if you look at vacant properties, you will find out that maybe the city or the county owns it. Sometimes it's just because of taxes or not properly transferring that wealth, families bickering about who gets what, and it ends up in probate, and then it gets lost because you're mad at each other. You don't have a clear line of sight of who should own it. So then it's just no one pays anything and it just gets lost. So those are some things that we just need to have conversation about and have better strategies around. So that's what the 8 steps cover in a nutshell.
That to me is super important, and I'm so glad you're doing it. And I know there's other people out here doing it as well, but the more the merrier on educating us, like you said, because we don't know. And a lot of us don't realize how important this is because we will not place value on it. We'll just kind of feel like, oh, I don't really need to know. But it's, I think once you start laying out the reasons why, like you just did, then it'll probably be more of an eye opener and make people want to get involved.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think it's very important that you're doing that. And it ain't like it's a lot of steps. It's only 8 steps that's just covering everything that you need, so I think that people probably just need to be, I guess, to admit that they need the help and just make that step. Yeah.
And then hold each other accountable because it's 8 steps, but you can lose sight of some of it. And I'm just through the daily grind of every day. So I try to build in accountability systems, meetups where we, I check in with folks. I'll do one-on-ones with people to just make sure that they're staying on track of the things that they say they want to accomplish. So a lot of the things that we want to accomplish that we're not accomplishing is because of life gets in the way.
Yep.
So if you just have somebody who's checking in with you and said, okay, you said you wanted to do this. Where are you? How can I help you?
Need that push.
Yep. Somebody just pushed you a little bit. So yeah, that's what we're doing with 8 steps. And we're in the midst of it. It's going great. I have about 15 people. Most of them are young people. So I'm really excited about the fact that some of them just got their first jobs.
Okay.
And they're starting out on the right track. And that's exactly the feeling that I had when I started working for corporate America. I was saying, gosh, I wish that somebody had taught me these things earlier because I'm just now learning. And I'm still digging out of the mistakes that I made because I didn't have this information. Right. So So yeah, that's why it's so important to me, and I'm just excited seeing all the people who engaged in the
Well,
process.
well, and also too, I know you say you got young, but the older people, they don't feel like, I don't feel like anybody
Yeah.
older don't feel like, shouldn't feel like it's too late.
No, it's
You
never too
know,
late.
because at the end of the day, you know, what was the story behind the guy who started KFC in the 60s?
Yeah,
You know, this is never too late.
it's
So,
never too late.
so you just got to have that mindset as well. So young, old, doesn't matter. If this is something that's pulling on you to do, then they need to do it.
And I'm gonna give a shout out to Charles Robinson. I don't know if you know Charles. He's in his 70s. He's Central City Optimist Club.
Yeah.
Charles being everything.
Okay.
He's like, I'm never gonna stop learning. So he takes the 8 steps. He's done the Life Legacy Luncheons. He just got his certificate at the ambassador program, going through community development work. So to your point, he's the role model. It's never too late. He's never not gonna stop learning.
Never too late. You still here.
Yep.
So why not? You know, because at the end of the day, you know, even if you're in your 70s, you may have 30 more summers. Right. I mean, you know, for you to be able to get some things going and do what you got to do. So it's never too late.
Right.
It's never too late. So
that kind of leads us into the Life Legacy Luncheon. Okay. So, well, I'll say with the financial empowerment, the 8 steps, there are still 2 sessions that people can take. You can either do the bundle of 4. And I started in May, so we had a session in May. We just had one on Monday for the June session. We have one July 31st, and then our last one is the last Monday in August. And so you can still sign up. You just go to justdawnjohnson.com and you click on 8 steps, and you can sign up for those upcoming classes. Okay. So then we have Life Legacy Luncheon that happens right after that on September 9th. And again, you follow the same go to the website and you can click on Life Legacy Luncheon and sign up for that. It's available now. But so the next part is, so let's say you get your finances together, right? Is life and your finances just about you?
Is it just about me? Yeah. No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Because you got other people that you are helping out, ask you for money maybe. I don't know.
Well, yeah, we all experience that.
You got other people in your pocket asking, or that you just care about and you're trying to help out, right? But if they're not on the same path that you're on, it's kind of pulling you backwards. I liken it to, let's say we're all in the ocean, right? And you might be a superb swimmer. You know,
I'm not, though. I'm not. I can't swim yet.
And so you might need a life vest, or you might need a lifesaver. But these things are available to you. Right. So my point is, we're all in the ocean. We're all trying to get somewhere. We're trying to swim out to the horizon. And we have these tools available to us. Let's say you don't get paralyzed by the fact that you're not a good swimmer. You say, I'm going to put on this life vest and I'm going to swim towards where I'm trying to go. But let's say you start swimming and then you looking back and the people you love still back there paddling. You're going to have a little bit of survivor guilt. Right. Yeah. And you may decide, okay, let me go back and see what's going on. So you swim back. That takes away from your journey forward. And you're like, how can I help you guys? I mean, and you decide, hey, I want to show you how to put on this life vest. I want to show you how to use this lifesaver. But instead, what if they jump on your back? And you're not a good swimmer. Yeah. Y'all all gonna drown.
We all going down. Yep, you're right.
So part of this journey is not just about once you get it. You don't be anyone else's crutch, because you might drown in the process. Right. But pointing them to the tools. These are the tools that I use, and you have access to the same tools. And I want to encourage you. Now, I got to get back to swimming, but I need you to use these tools. Y'all good? Y'all good? Okay. I'm going to be looking back and checking on you, but I got to keep moving forward. So that's kind of, I see what is happening with like a lot of people that I'm working with, that they're in that situation. And it's harder for them to keep moving forward. So what Life Legacy Luncheon does is, I encourage people to get a table, and you just tell your family members, maybe parents, maybe siblings, children, and you bring them all to the table and say, I'm going to have lunch on me. I'm prepared to the table. I want you to listen to a few things. Because what I found, and even the 8 steps sessions, is people are like, okay, part of this last step is I got to figure out, am I going to be responsible for my parents when they get older?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what my parents' situation is. I don't know what their finances are. I don't know, if I'm still working, I got kids in college. Am I still got to help them out financially? Are they dependent on Social Security? Do they have a retirement plan?
Mm-hmm.
Are they planning on living with me? If they can't take care of themselves, do they want to be in a nursing home? Like all of that stuff impacts your finances.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to begin having that conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to talk to your kids about you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you going to do?
Right.
Do you know if you're going to live with a child? If you can't take for yourself, if you made that decision?
Well, I don't have kids, so
even case in point,
I got you.
God forbid, you have a stroke and you can't take care of yourself.
Right.
What's the plan?
That's true. And as I'm listening to you, I don't even think families realize that they need to have these conversations.
Right.
And I think that it would take someone out of the family to kind of lead and bring the rest of the family to the table. It's just all about getting them there, I think.
Right.
Are they going to come and I'm willing have the conversation?
I'm saying if you don't know how to have the conversation, I am there and I have an estate planner there, and we're going to ask the questions that you can't ask, or you can't articulate.
The tough question.
Right, the tough question. But we do it in a fun way.
Yeah.
So you're sitting at the table, you lighten the mood, you're laughing, you're talking, because the goal here is to start a conversation, helping you as a family decide what you want your legacy to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go home at your kitchen table, at your family gatherings, and you continue the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal of the Life Legacy Luncheon. So, because I get to a certain point with my clients where I can't take you any further if you don't have these conversations, because we can't make decisions about your legacy and your retirement if you don't know whether you got to take care of your parents or not, if they're going to be living with you or they're going to be living with your sister.
Right.
And then even families deciding what is your role going to be, because I've seen so many relationships that are hurt because we haven't had those conversations. So let's say stuff happens to mom and dad. You may physically be close, or someone in the family makes a decision. It's kind of like you're all standing there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't take a step back. You just start doing what you need to do, but everybody else take 2 steps back, and then they decide, okay, I'm just going to drop in, get some food, I'm comb your hair, and then they out.
Right.
Well, what happens every single day?
Absolutely.
One person might be left taking care of the daily responsibilities, and we don't know what that burden is. So if you talk as a family now, how about y'all start delegating responsibilities? If something happened to mom and dad, you're going to take care of the bills. I am in a position where I can physically drop in. This person may be in a position where I'm going to cook the meals and drop them off. I'm going to be the one that bathes them. Like, everybody take a little bit of a role, and you decide that in advance what that's going to look like. Then you all get to plan your lives around that, around your role and your responsibility that you're going to take on. And you don't leave that to just one person. But then what if you don't have kids? What if you don't have siblings? What if you're only child? You got to think through, what does life look like for you? I had a great aunt who didn't have children, and she and her husband relied on his niece to take care of them when they were older. I was living in Illinois at the time. My parents lived in Orangeburg. She was living in Philadelphia. So when I found out about her, she was like a long lost auntie. It's a long story there. But when I found out about her, I started to go visit her on my breaks and got to know her, because I didn't know my grandmother had passed away before I died. She was my grandmother's baby sister that we never knew about. So I was fascinated. It's like, this is kind of me getting to know a little bit someone that's similar to my grandmother. So her husband passes away. It's just her. His niece now feels like, my responsibility. I was helping y'all out when my uncle was alive, but that was my uncle. So then we're calling and we're realizing that she doesn't sound right. She's a little off. So then we go to visit and find out she has Alzheimer's.
Oh, wow.
She hadn't been paying her bills. Her house is a mess. So then we're kind of like, we can't just leave her here. What do we do? So then my mom, I'm living in Illinois. At the time, I'm actually pregnant with my child. So my mother's like, I'll take her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so in the moment, you're making decisions and it's impacting your life.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom takes her in. I'm like, well, I'll do what I can to help along the way. But these are the situations that we're finding ourselves in because she and her husband didn't have a conversation with his niece to say, what's going to happen should I die? So that's where I am just trying to encourage people to just not leave your life to your elder years because, you know, you see people in these nursing homes and you're wondering why no one's coming to visit them. And I don't think nursing homes are a bad place. I do think that you need to do your research and I do think you need to be engaged and you need to be checking in and holding people accountable. But I'm in there. My dad's in nursing home here and, you know, we check in all the time. I cared for him as long as I could in our home. And it was a joint decision, you know, between him and us as a family as to what he wanted. And we would have been open to whatever he wanted. But that was a decision that we made collectively. But we're checking in. We're there every day. But I see people there who, as much as we're there, we never see any of their family members. We know the names of all the nurses and the CNAs that are caring for him, and they're loving on our dad, and he's doing good. But you know, when other people, you don't see their families there, that's where I think the nursing homes get a bad rap because you just have people left and no one's checking in on them and caring for them.
Yeah, I've seen it too myself. You just kind of being in and out of there. Man, you're right. You know, we're not having these conversations. And I think it's great that you see that amongst in our community and you know that's happening, you're doing something about it because a lot of times people don't know it and aware of it, but nobody's doing anything about it. So you're encouraging the conversation. Some may have these conversations, some won't. But at the end of the day, I think when they start seeing how it's making a difference in other people's families and other people's lives, because like you say, when stuff happens, when these things happens and, you know, your parents get sick and all these things is hitting you at once.
Yeah.
And it's like you didn't prepare for it. You didn't have the conversations. So, and then I know, like for me and my family, like I'm the youngest, so I know automatically they're probably trying to put everything on me. It's not okay. We'll finish out and then we'll not regroup. But yeah, I think they'll probably be trying to put everything on me. But at the end of the day, I think that if you have these conversations and have that clarity of who's comfortable with doing what, it'll make it all better.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody take a little part. So you ready now to go have a conversation?
Am I ready? I think I may be ready, but I don't know about the rest. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it'll be about trying to have them have an understanding of what would be the purpose or the reason to do it. You know what I'm saying? It almost seemed like it'll be the black sheep of the family that's bringing them to the table, the one that's different, you know, to kind of lead the way. But yeah, I think I could. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know who would all be willing to come to the table, but I guess whoever comes is.
You start there.
Yeah, you start there. So I think that's great.
Yeah. So talking about conversations that leads into the Mother-Daughter Project.
Yep, leading to the Mother-Daughter Project. We're going to take a break because we got to regroup everything here and get everything set back up to come back in and continue this conversation with Don Johnson here on the Mista Darkeye Podcast. I'm going to where we'll be right back.
The Mista Darkeye Podcast is being brought to you by Don Johnson State Farm Insurance. Activate Don in your life and experience the impact. Why? Because Don Johnson is a visionary. She's determined, people-focused, a problem solver, and she's generous. Visit donjohnson.net and donjohnsoncares.com to learn more about her work with the people and the community. Does Don Johnson do too much? Maybe, but that's just Dawn. She loves the people and she is a change agent. So make sure you stop by Don Johnson State Farm Insurance, located at Rock Hills, Manchester Village, off of Dave Lyle Boulevard, 572 John Ross Parkway, Suite 106, directly across from TJ Maxx and in between Sweet Frog and the UPS store. And don't forget to tell them Mr. Darkeye sent you. What it is, great people.
Home of motivation
To trust God and live your dreams.